Now we're going to look at using the quadratic formula to solve a quadratic equation. It's important that it's in this form so that you can pick out the A, the B, and the C, because those are the letters that are in our formula. So our formula is negative B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC. And all of this is divided by 2A. This is the quadratic formula. So like I said at the end of the last video, you probably want to write this down on a card to keep it handy. The B squared minus 4AC is called the discriminant. And it helps you decide if you have the right amount and the right kind of answers. So if you, let's put the x equals, because you'll get an answer. So if x is greater than 0, then you'll get 2 real answers. If x is equal to 0, you'll get 1 real. And if x is less than 0, you'll get 2 complex, which, remember, the complex involve that imaginary number. So you don't have to do this separately. I think you have a couple of problems where they ask you to find the discriminant and then decide what kind of answers you'll have. But as you're doing the work, just notice, what do you come up with for the number that's under the radical before you take the square root of it, and that'll help you see if you have the right answers or the right types of answers. I like to go ahead and identify my A, B, and C. It makes it easier to fill into the formula for me. So A will be 1, B is negative 8, and C is 16. And then we want to go ahead and fill it into our formula. So I have x equals negative b, which is negative 8, plus or minus the square root of b squared, so it's negative 8 squared minus 4 times a times c, and all of this is over 2 times a. So I'll have positive 8 plus or minus, that's 64 minus 4 times 16 is going to give me 64. All of this is over 2. So 8 plus or minus the square root of 0 over 2. Now notice here the discriminant is 0. X equals 0. That means I'm going to have one real answer. When I add 8 to 0, I just get 8. So 8 over 2 is going to equal 4. So I only have one answer for that one. This problem could actually have been factored. When we can't factor, that's when we have to go to the quadratic formula. And for us, what we're doing, I'm trying to avoid giving you problems that can be factored, because I want you to use this formula and not spend time trying to decide if you can factor it or not. I need to rewrite this so that everything is on the same side of the equal sign. Then I can take and find my A, my B, and my C. Then I can come and fill them into the formula. X equals negative B, and B is negative 2, plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C. All of this is over 2 times A. Then it's just a matter of doing the math. So we'll have a positive 2 plus or minus 4 plus, then we need to multiply all three, and I went ahead and put the plus. A negative times a negative gives me that positive. 4 times 9 times 6. Dig out your calculator if you need to figure out the numbers. Over 18. We will continue. These problems take up a lot of paper. So 220 over 18. Just a little side note, the discriminant. I think I'm going to run out of space. Let me move that over a little bit. The discriminant here is 220. That's larger than 0. That means I'm going to have 2 real answers. Now remember, the difference between real and complex is that I, that imaginary number. So I need to simplify the 220. So I'm just going to kind of come over here to the side and look at factoring 220. That'd be 22 times 10. That's 2 times 11, 2 times 5. So I do have some things I can pull out. I have 2 of those 2's, so they can come out as 1. So I will have 2 plus or minus 2 times the square root of 11 times 5 gives me the 55. All of this is over 18. Then I need to reduce it. Remember, we've got 3 places here, 2, 2, and 18, and they can all be divided by 2. So when I divide this by 2, I get 1. Divide this by 2, I also get 1, but because it's next to the square root of 55, I don't write the 1. And then 18 divided by 2 is going to give me 9. Again, in my math lab, there's not a button for the plus or minus, so you'll have to write this out separately as 1 plus the square root of 55 over 9, comma, 1 minus the square root of 55 over 9. That's going to be the answer that you'll need for my math lab. Okay, on this problem, we do not have it in quadratic form. We have lots of work to do before we can even use the quadratic formula. So remember, it has to be in that quadratic equation form. So if it's not, you do everything you need to do to get it into that format. So here I have to FOIL. So m times 3m, m times 10, 2 times 3m, and 2 times 10. That's just on the left. On the right, I have 3 times m and 3 times 5. plus the 15 that was already there. So let's make, we've got 3m squared plus 16m plus 20 and 3m plus 30. I need everything on the same side. I have 3m squared, 16 minus the 3m, because when I move it over, I have to do the opposite. And I'm going to do both of these at the same time. I'm going to subtract 3m and I'm going to subtract 30 from both sides. So 16 minus 3 and 20 minus 30. Now I have the equation, the quadratic equation. I want to go ahead and, write my A, my B, my C. That just helps me when I go to do the quadratic formula. So negative B plus or minus B squared minus 4 times A times C. All of this is going to be over 2 times A. Then let's simplify. Hopefully you have printed a square root chart and already know what the square root of 289 is. That was a suggestion I made many lessons ago. Remember our discriminant. $289, that is greater than 0, so that means we're going to have 2 real answers. Now remember, real answers can have a radical, they just cannot have an I. Okay, so let's finish this. And let's separate it out. Negative 13 plus 17 over 6. Negative 13 minus 17 over 6. That's going to give me 4 over 6, which will equal 2/3. So there's my first answer. And then I've got negative 30 over 6, which will simplify to negative 5, which will give me the second answer. These can also be checked. These are equations. So you would go back into your original, which this one was a headache if you remember how it started, but that's what you would need to do to check these answers, is to go back into the original and check the answers. Okay, so that's all for this section. Woohoo! We only have 2 sections left to go. And for those, you need to print. So for 11.3, and do we need it for 11.4? No, it's not 11.3, it's 11.5. For 11.5 and 11.6, go to handouts and print. I don't ask you to print often, but you have a handout here that's going to be very, very helpful. And I will be referring to it as we do 11.5 and 11.6. All right. Keep up the good work. We're almost finished.